Will.
Yes, Bob.
Fantastic Four. Did you even see it?
Nope, but we're going to
see
talk
it.
about it anyway, because apparently
Sure,
there's a lot to talk about.
Not? Okay. We can't say it was a bad movie. We didn't see it.
Exactly. So
we can say a lot of people hated it.
Yes.
That's why I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. It currently has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, you know, only the worst of the worst get that.
What do they compare it to? Mortal Kombat?
No. The Elektra movie, I think, is the next worst superhero movie according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
That was better than Catwoman?
No, Elektra was worse than Catwoman. Catwoman was better than this, according to, yeah. So, the critical consensus, dull and downbeat, this Fantastic Four proves a woefully misguided attempt to translate a classic comic series without the humor, joy, or colorful thrills that made it great.
I heard woefully. Anyway, I didn't see the other two Fantastic Four movies.
I only saw the first one.
Yeah, well, it was bad, so you didn't want to see the second one.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. You know, there was a lot more that could have been done with it.
I also didn't see Green Lantern because I heard that was bad too.
That was just okay.
I don't do this if the movie's bad.
I know. I'm willing to give anything a shot. The thing is,
I should be more willing to give things a shot.
With Fantastic Four, I'm now more interested than ever to see this movie. Like, how bad can this be?
I'm very interested in the story behind it.
Yes, like there's
why it's so bad.
There was a mythical fourth Fantastic Four movie made back in the 90s, made by Roger Corman, who is best known for B movies like Sharknado and things like that. He made the Fantastic Four, never released officially. They're bootlegs everywhere.
Wait, he made it and they never released it?
Yeah, it was just done to keep the rights.
Yes, they do that a lot.
But
if they don't make a movie using the rights, they lose the rights.
Yeah.
That's actually why this movie was made.
Yeah. But they made a documentary about that movie called Doomed. Get
Doom in it?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool,
I
man.
want that crew to now make a documentary about what the hell happened to this, because apparently a lot happens behind the scenes. It keeps changing every day depending on who you ask.
Didn't they get a new director at the end? Like after they already filmed 90%
yeah, they filmed most of it, and then, well, all right, let's back up. I'm back. So they hired Josh Trank, who directed Chronicle, and Chronicle was a pretty big hit. They hired him to bring in the vet. It did well. It didn't set the world on fire, but it did well.
All right.
People liked it. It did well. So they wanted him to come in and just basically reinvent the Fantastic Four. Apparently, from the start, they had cut 3 action scenes out of his script. 3 like major action scenes.
Okay.
And then from there, it was just a downward spiral.
Who's they?
Fox.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just, like, reading these stories is just a back and forth between Josh Trank was out of his league.
I heard he was very hard to work with.
A complete maniac. There's that story about how he destroyed a house that they rented with his dogs. Then there's another side that's saying, like, Fox was there every day, slashing the budget, you know, making changes left and right, adding reshoots after the movie had already wrapped, and that Fox had final cut all the way up until the movie was released. So, like, it just this is one of the most fascinating behind the scenes, you know, clusterfucks in recent memory. It really is.
Right.
There was I don't know. Do you remember in the trailer there was that one scene where the Thing drops from a plane?
Yeah.
Not in the movie.
Not in the movie at all?
Not in the movie. That was in every single trailer, wound up not being in the movie.
There was a Kotaku article or was IGN or something that said, like, what happened to
yeah.
What happened with his fight scene?
Yeah, with the big.
I was like, oh, that's a spoiler. I don't want to read that. But
yeah, apparently they just took it out.
Yeah,
they straight up removed it. Again, depending on who you asked, it was either because Fox thought that Josh Trank, you know, didn't know what he was doing, or that Josh Trank said Fox didn't like the way the scene was turning out, so they removed it.
That's
apparently a lot of scenes that were in the trailer were just cut.
That looked like a really expensive scene.
Apparently a lot of the stuff that they put into the trailer were just like cut from the final version of the movie. It's now become something of a meme. Kate Mara, who plays the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, wears a very noticeable wig. Like halfway through the movie, her hairstyle just changes completely. And it's like very obviously a bad wig.
I bet you she probably thought they were done, so she like dyed her hair or whatever.
She got like one of those pixie cuts, and yeah, they had to put a wig on her.
Yeah. Well, I'm just not interested at all in these characters.
Yeah.
And I never have been.
That's the thing. Like the Fantastic Four, like they're a great set of characters. They're regardless of whether or not you think they're good characters, they are probably Marvel's most important property.
Important?
Like, yes.
Why?
Because it was that book that basically kickstarted their entire Silver Age. That's what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created first before anything.
They were important for the time.
Right.
I wouldn't say they're important anymore at all.
Okay, but look at Iron Man or Ant-Man. They're not important now, but they came out and they
very
had
important now.
Yeah, exactly. So the right movie can change all of that.
That's true.
And it just looks like, somebody out there just doesn't get it.
I just really don't care about the Fantastic Four, and even the comics. When we used to, like when we were first getting into comics, we never read Fantastic Four comics.
I had a couple. I'm actually now going back and trying to read that era. That was the Mark Waid, Mike Waringo era of Fantastic Four, and that's like one of the best eras.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been going back and trying to read those, and they're
I
really
love
good.
when the Fantastic Four is in other, like when they're in Spider-Man and
Yeah.
stuff. That's great, but Fantastic Four on their own, they're just not interesting to me at all.
I think, part of
and Marvel knows that because they just axed it.
Well, I don't think, no, I think Marvel axed it because they really hate this movie.
I think they axed it because they wanted the rights back and they want to suffocate Fox, but
Yeah.
also they weren't making anything off of the Fantastic Four comics.
It was a
well.
lower selling property, but at the same time, X-Men's still around. Well, X-Men's a higher selling property. All right, that's a bad example.
Well, they we already really Marvel Comics has a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Their release schedule's all over the place. They're super into their movies, so they just have things happen in the comics just so that they could be tie-ins to the movies.
And then the movies come out, and the comics will have to change to support the movie.
Yeah.
Marvel's really bad with that.
They don't think hard enough about their stories, especially with Spider-Man. It's just do it. Just do it. Just do whatever. And Marvel's hard to read, but I just never got into Fantastic Four. Never.
I mean, all it takes is, one good story.
I love Wolverine. Terrible comics.
Yeah.
He has terrible comics.
He does.
But I love him. I like the character. I don't like these characters, and they have terrible comics, so I don't read the comics.
Something that, going back to the movie, something that, I found interesting. This movie has been, criticized for being very bleak and dark and depressing and almost nothing like the more whimsical Fantastic Four of the comics. Apparently, the first draft of the script had a lot of the more classic fantastical elements, like the Fantasticar, which is a hover car, and it's called the Fantasticar. It had the Mole Man in it, and apparently Galactus had a cameo.
Galactus cameo?
Yeah.
Can you cameo Galactus?
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Hey guys, I'm here. I'm also absolutely gigantic.
And I'm hungry. Oh,
I'll eat you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll put you in the
So that's very interesting to me. That
I'm into Mole Man.
Yeah. Mole Man's apparently still in the movie, but they changed his name, so he's not Mole Man anymore.
Well, then what the hell? Oh, maybe a sequel.
There's going to be no sequel after this. I guarantee you that.
I wonder if they left it open at the end.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either.
I mean, definitely all these shenanigans, I really want to know, I've become morbidly interested in bad movies and how what went wrong. The last year's Ninja Turtles movie. I knew it was a bad movie, but I wanted to see it because I was just curious, how bad can this be?
I heard it wasn't that bad.
It's bad. It's not as bad as you think.
Right.
It's still bad. But you can see, like, you know, they had one idea and then they were like last minute changes and it's like cobbled together and stuff, and just a lot of things just don't mesh together because it's like they took two different scripts and just, you know, combined them.
I was at a party once and Turtles 2 was on.
Yeah.
And one of my friends was like, I don't understand why people could watch this. The new one's so much better looking. And I
hope you're not that person's friend anymore.
Been so unreasonably mad at somebody who's not nerdy over something really nerdy.
Yep.
I almost got into a real life fist fight over the Ninja Turtles.
Would have been worth it.
Is that it? We're done.
Yeah.
Time's up.
I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess Marvel's going to get the rights back to Fantastic Four now. I mean, unless Fox is really that stupid.
Well, Fox has it for like another couple of years now.
Yeah, basically.
Because they made the stupid movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, Marvel is in the position where they either get it back to try and save it, or they're like, we don't want to touch this anymore. This is tainted. They've tried 4 times to get the Fantastic Four right, and they can't do it.
I
don't get it.
Marvel doesn't care. Marvel doesn't want it.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think they want it at all. They want X-Men.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're gonna want it back, Fantastic Four, just so that they can protect it from other people. Really, at this point. But yeah, who knows? I mean, this is the darkest timeline for the Fantastic Four right now, and I hope it's not like that for long. Because
curtains for Fantastic Four.
These are really good characters, especially Doctor Doom, one of, if not the greatest comic book villain ever in the history of all time. So,
I like Doom.
Yeah.
Everybody else can go fuck themselves. What do you guys think about the Fantastic Four movie? Have you seen it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so tell us what you know.
And what do you think went wrong?
Yeah, tell us what you think and what you know about Fantastic Four down below or anywhere on the internet. I am completely curious about this. I don't want to spend money on it, so that's why I'm like hesitant to actually go to the theaters. But I really do like want to see just like what happened. So
we're gonna bootleg it.
Yeah,
don't
probably
do that, but we're gonna do that. And like you said, leave in the comments below. Ask Twitter, all the social media garbage. We have videos every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah.
And we live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So pretty much every day.
All
there's
on
something
YouTube.
for you to watch.
All on YouTube, baby.
Yep.
Thank you guys very much.
Have a good week. And it's the writing I specifically want to talk about because more than any other show on television, Monday Night Raw, Thursday Night SmackDown, and whatever the hell TNA does nowadays, have nailed comic book style storytelling.
I think the problem is that these narrative games don't fill a void in my life. When I want to watch a movie, I'll watch a movie. Or when I want to play a game, I'll play a game. Although I have to admit, I almost never just watch movies.